Hey everybody, session 3, really excited today. Today's a massive one, guys. It's really, really big, really important. I'm so excited to take you through this. It's also a little bit tricky. So for those of you who are new here today, thank you for joining us in person. Today we are copying and pasting our LinkedIn profiles into the chat. And if you arrive a few minutes early, feel free to start connecting with people and let those connections flow and just chat to them on LinkedIn. What we're going to be doing over the coming weeks is we're going to go from me just sort of teaching you into you guys also starting to connect with people using something called chat circles. And chat circles are these guys over here under your app. They're called chat circles. I'm not going to go into details today, but we're going to start showing you guys over time how to start connecting with each other and how to start doing referrals in a very, very soft and gentle way, because obviously referrals are the highest form of flattery and the best form of business that you can get. So it's great if we can start connecting with each other. And one of the best ways to do that is on LinkedIn. And then over the coming weeks, I'm going to start showing you how that's all going to start to come together. So yeah, guys, really exciting. Today, the good news is for those people who don't like tech, today is going to be very much around theory. So it's going to be theoretical and it's about how to write that first LinkedIn message. It's a little bit tricky to teach, I won't lie. Chet, who's with us, knows it's not the easiest thing. But Chet has also firsthand seen the results. So Chet, you know, I helped Chet send 3 messages the other day and he got 2 responses almost immediately. So it's really common for people to send a lot of LinkedIn messages and not get responses. Now, remember going back to the sales conversion gap, guys. I always talk about that sales conversion gap. I hope I don't have to bring that diagram up again. You guys should know it. You've got prospecting, you've got nurturing, and then you've got closing the deal with a phone call. And in between, you've got this gap. And this, what I'm going to show you today, is going to help you close that gap and get you one step closer to that phone call. Now, the trick with this whole process is it's got to be unique for everyone. So I'm going to show you how I do it. And then you guys are going to have to practice using your practice contacts. If I'm not mistaken, you guys by now should have done your homework. And you should be sitting with a whole bunch of people, maybe 3, maybe 5, maybe 8, depending on how your acceptance rate has been. You should be sitting with a bunch of people already in your acceptances tab, and you've already moved them down into your high quality contacts tab. So you've invited them, you've accepted them. Call these practice contacts. Practice, don't worry, we're going to delete them all later. I know what I've been teaching you so far is being more technical. After today, we're going to come back to the beginning and I'm going to show you the advanced way. So consider this just technical practice. Okay, so how do you reach out to somebody with a LinkedIn message and get a reply? Firstly, it's about what you don't do. And this is going to sound like the craziest thing you've ever heard in your life, but you don't ask a question. So I'm going to let that sink in. In other words, you've got somebody, right, on LinkedIn, and you've sent them an invitation message, you've sent them acceptance message, they might not have replied at all. Maybe they did, maybe they sent you an automated thumbs up, whatever. But the beauty is that they are engaging you because they are there. So they might not be engaging you by physically replying. Your goal now is to move them down your sales pipeline from to great conversations from high quality contacts. Okay, so how do you get that conversation started? This is how you do it. You're going to write them a message, but you're not going to ask a question. Now, you might be thinking, why would I not ask a question to somebody to get a conversation going? Because nature would think that if I met somebody at a barbecue or a dinner or an event, and I'm chatting to them and I say, oh, so what is it that you do for a living? Or, oh, so where do you live? Or whatever, what country are you from? That's a nice accent. That's normally what happens. You ask a question and there's answers and there's a Q&A going back. With LinkedIn, they couldn't give a stuff. They don't care at all. They don't care about small talk. They don't want to start a conversation with you. They don't want to do any of that stuff. So all those normal, natural things that you'd use to start a conversation have gone out the window. So you don't ask a question. You don't ask a question because if you ask a question and they don't respond, what happens? You're on the back foot. There's nothing you can do now. Because if they don't reply, now you're desperately going back to them and you keep going to them. Oh, you didn't reply, please reply. Or, oh, I asked you a question, you didn't get back to me. Or you just do nothing because you're so demoralized that you feel terrible. So don't ask a question. See what I'm saying, guys? So when you ask a question, you put yourself on the back foot. So what you're going to learn to do today is you're going to start the process. And remember, you're not going to learn this whole technique today. We're going to go back into the next group when I teach you all the advanced stuff, and you're going to really understand and frame it correctly. But what you're going to practice today and what you're going to learn is how to make a bold statement. A bold statement that shows, and here are the key words, guys, professional insight. That's what this is about. It's a bold statement. People are sick and tired of fluffy, airy-fairy BS that doesn't really say anything, doesn't really go anywhere. We see it in the news. We see it in politics. We see it all around us in our daily lives. Fluffery, no one really says anything. No one takes responsibility. Can you imagine what it's like if somebody just connects you and sends you a personal message directed for you that makes a bold statement that means something to you? A statement that actually really means something. Whether they're right or wrong, or whether you're right or wrong when you make that statement is irrelevant right now. The fact is you are bold enough to put your name, your responsibility behind a message. This is the power. It comes from you personally. It means you as a human being are standing in front of what you're about to say and just giving it everything and saying, this is what I believe with regards to what it is you are going through at the moment, your business, your pain. So it's all about your pain. So there's lots of little points I've been giving you now. It's not about your product or service. So remember I said just now, you do not ask a question. You sure as hell do not talk about your product or service. Do not mention it. Do not hint at a product or service. Do not even skirt around the possibility that you might have a product or service to offer. This is not about you. It's completely about them. Okay, guys. I'm going to show you examples to try and frame it, because you might be thinking, well, if I can't ask a question, I can't talk about myself, I can't talk about my product or service, then what the hell am I going to talk about? And the answer to that question is you're going to make a statement that shows professional insight into their pain. All right, guys, have you got it? Now, how their pain reacts to your business or relates to your business is very specifically around or created, crafted by your ability to know what is going on in their lives. Now, in your specific business, you're going to know some of that already because it's what you do in your business, or else you have to do a bit of research. But either way, you've got to come up with it. So without further ado, let me show you some examples and take you through the process of how to write that first intro. I don't even want to call it an introduction message. It's your first custom message. All right, so in your app, when you send these out, I'm also going to be showing you how to do a custom message, but today is less technical. So let me quickly share my screen. And just for the record, so you've got it on video, when you send any message to somebody, try not to use the message button. This is not a great example. If I type in somebody else, you'll see Cherie has a message button on her. Here we go. Try not to use that message button. Try to send your messages using the secrets in the app, these little icons over here. Okay. So if you look at Charlie over here, this little button here, this drop down, there's a custom message under drop down and a handover message. I'll talk you through handover later. That comes more advanced. For now, it's about a custom message. The same place you create your custom message, you create it in your settings tab. Remember your beautiful acceptance message that you wrote that you're going to be rewriting completely soon? And your custom message that you wrote that you're going to be rewriting completely soon. Sorry, your invitation message that you wrote. Your custom message is the same thing. So you can build your custom message in here. All right. And then you use that little icon to send it out. All right. So you just send it custom message. You can also start playing around with tags if you want. That's quite useful. This is where you can create tags and make notes about specific people you're chatting to. There's lots of videos on this. I will take you through it a bit later as we start managing the process. But for now, I really want to keep this as little about technology and more about, okay, so how the heck do I write this message? Okay, so you've got a LinkedIn connection and it's a first degree connection. You want to reach out to them and you want to get a great conversation. I know I don't have to tell you this again, but remember your your goal is to go from high quality contacts to great conversations to deals in progress. So you need to get a great conversation going before you can get a deal in progress. So on the madge3.com website, under resources is a very special and important document in your life. It's called client cheat sheets. Now we're going to be adding more and more of these over time, but right now, the client cheat sheet number 1 is by far the most important. So madge3.com, under resources, client cheat sheets. Right. This is what I'm going to take you through now. I'm literally going to show you how to do it. And I use my methodology to reach out to people from my side to get a conversation going. You're going to need to tweak this and customize it for your own business using the same idea. So how do you structure and prepare that first LinkedIn message? Let's begin. Don't worry about this. You can read through that in your own time. But I want to go straight to the examples. All right. Remember what I told you about bold statements. You make a bold statement and you don't ask a question. Now, there are certain exceptions to the question rule. So sometimes you can ask a question. But for now, I just want you to think, no, you're not going to ask a question. You're not going to talk about your product or service. So what the hell are you going to do? You're going to make a bold statement. So look at what I did with Shalene here. Hi, Shalene. I was blown away to see that you guys actually create simulations like computer games, actual sim cities, and so that decisions can be around fleet management as if they were really zipping around the streets. Amazing. So what I've done here is I've created a custom message, which means, sorry to say this, guys, you have to research each individual that you work with. This is not a copy and paste job. And that sometimes makes people moan and cry because they want a cut and paste job and they think they can copy and paste the same message to everyone and hope for a result. That can work on a volume scale, but how many people are you going to piss off along the way when you get it wrong? Everything I'm teaching you has a 100% guarantee that you're going to not piss people off. I'm going to review that number and change it to a 99% guarantee. There are always going to be stuff out there that someone might get pissed off. Yes, Chet.
Okay, is it just for the sake of context, could you possibly show us this person's profile so you can show us what you looked at and where you looked to find this particular little bit of insight that allowed you to write this useful message?
Yeah, in the Q&A after this, I'm actually I want you guys to, that's also why I wanted you guys on LinkedIn. I want you guys to throw me a curveball. I want you guys to actually send me one. I'm going to do it live with you guys. Okay. So get ready. So if you guys have got an example that you want me to work with, throw it out there. So yeah, Chet, I'm going to show you just now. The important thing to know, and this is important. Yeah, I'm glad you brought this up as well, because try and understand the context. All right. When you go to somebody with a bold, provocative statement that has meaning to them, it shows that you've taken the time to look at them, but it's showing them that you have insight into what it is their problem or their pain or their issue or just them is. You don't ask a question, which means if you don't get an answer, you can follow them up later. So that's why these bold, provocative statements are there. Also, these bold, provocative statements that you create that show professional insight resonate with them. They can see you've taken the time. It gives them almost an obligation to reply, especially if you've done the setup correctly, which we're going to start from next week and in future weeks. Remember what I showed you guys? You haven't done the setup correctly at all in your first 2 lessons. Your invitations and acceptance messages have all been wrong. So I can show you this technique and you guys might not get a single response from what I'm going to show you today, but you might, and it's great if you do. But I don't want you to get demoralized because the setup is everything and how you work through that process. So going back here, and one of the reasons why I don't really want to go too much yet, and I'm going to show you guys how I got this information from you guys. It's more about what is it about. Okay. So if it's a company owner or a director of a company, then compliment them on their company. Start by saying, I love what you do for this reason. Don't just say, I love what you do, and then copy and paste their company name into it. Say to them, give them a compliment. Now, the compliment can be about their business if they're a business owner, but it can also be about them. You can compliment them on their background. You can compliment them about their bio, compliment them about volunteer work that they're doing. 1 sentence, guys, is all you need. 1 or 2 sentences. You're going to see all these examples I'm going to show you. There's so few lines of text that are being written. It's not an essay. It's just a couple of things that you write just to get a conversation going. But it's really key in the way that you frame that message that makes so much sense. So what I said, hi, Shalene, I was blown away to see that you guys actually create simulations like computer games. I went onto her LinkedIn profile. I looked at what she does. I looked at her website, and I just quickly noticed that these guys do simulations. Wow, these are so cool. Actual sim cities, because that's what they do. They create simulation city software so that decisions can be around fleet management as if they were really zipping around the streets. Amazing. And Shalene got back to us. There's going to be a whole nother session on how they reply and then what you do after that, guys. I can't get through the whole conversation in this message, in this lesson. That's why I want you guys to please keep coming back, and we'll start growing the community, and I can show you guys how to take it to the next level. But you've got a reply and a conversation has started. That is 95% further than most people get with their LinkedIn messages. And I'd like to hear from you guys as to your statistics at the moment of LinkedIn messages and how many responses you're getting. Maybe you guys are getting really high responses. I know that some people have figured out their little kind of fishing spot and they've got really good at it, which is great. I'm hoping this can add value, but a lot of you guys are really struggling to get the first conversation going. Okay, so there's a conversation going. Here's another one. Now, this is a high profile guy that I've been talking to. So I wrote to him, hi, Gennady, getting data into one place and in good condition is absolutely the first step. The reason why I use the words the first step is because in his LinkedIn profile, he says the first step is to get your data into one place. I just read his profile back to him. And you can do that. If you do nothing more than read their own LinkedIn profile back to them using slightly different words, summarized, still works because you're showing that you're taking the time to get to understand them. Now I'm moving to the pain point. One issue I have found is that businesses see data as being extremely complicated, cumbersome, and time consuming. They feel that cleaning up their data is like cleaning up their garden shed. They know it has to be done, but instead they just avoid going anywhere near it. So this kind of garden shed analogy can be reused. So while you're doing multiple messages to different people, you can reuse the same analogy over and over again if you want to, but just make sure the context is personal. Now I'm going to stop here for a second because I want you guys to think for a moment. Go back to why we are doing this. Why are we doing this? Because we want you guys as salespeople or business owners to only spend time with high quality people. You are not going to spend time writing this message to people who are not high quality. The rest is going to be an automated machine that you created. The high quality messages go to high quality people, and you follow the golden rule. You never put crap into the app. So you don't put crap in here. Does that make sense, guys? You see where we're starting to come right now? All right. So this is what I did. I just gave him a bold statement, and I used the garden shed analogy, et cetera, et cetera. And this guy got back to me. I can promise you guys, these are not the type of people that respond on LinkedIn very often. Look how he replied. You're absolutely right, Scotty, and I've definitely done your homework. That is like a dream. Remember what we're trying to do, guys. We're trying to, once again, let me reiterate this point. You're taking people who are high quality individuals in this world, in your country, in your city, business owners, high quality people, and you're trying to make them think highly of you, highly enough to take your call. It's not going to happen if you spam them. It's not going to happen. It's incredibly difficult to do. If you met them at an event, it would be difficult to do. How do you show your credibility? How do you build your personality to them? How do you show them that trust is there, that you know what it is that you're talking about? That's your goal. Otherwise, you're just going to be farting against thunder, guys. You're just going to be sending message after message. It's going to be going nowhere. You're not going to become best friends with these people overnight. You've got to do everything in your power to not fuck it up in the first place and then grow your credibility. This is everything that we're doing. And going back to the future episodes, when I show you how to do the setup, it's going to become even more powerful down the line. Okay, so you see what he's done. He's saying, you're right, Scotty, and definitely done your homework. It's just that we aim to clean up the metadata rather than the data mess, a problem also very well admitted by businesses, but one that requires a particular approach. Once again, I've now got a conversation with him. There's interest there. More importantly, Gennady Gennady, sees me as somebody worth speaking to, as somebody worth taking the time to actually have a conversation with. Do you know how difficult it is to do that in business? It's extremely difficult if it doesn't come from a referral. If it's a referral, you've got that done straight away. If it's sales and marketing, people think they can do this out of Facebook ads and shit like that. You can't do it. You can only do it by taking the time to work with high quality people through a sales pipeline nurturing process. Now, I spent 3 minutes maximum looking at Gennady's LinkedIn profile and coming up with these few sentences. I'm good at it. Your first ones are going to take 10 or 15 minutes. And you might be thinking, why should I spend 10 or 15 minutes on one message? Hell yes, because you're getting the skill that you need to do it. You're practicing. You're going to become good at it. So it will only take you 2 or 3 minutes eventually, and you'll get good at it. So you've got to do it to practice, and you're working with high quality people. Now, I know the people that are already in your base, in here right now, that you've done for your homework, your high quality contacts. I know that they might not be the highest quality people. These are practice people. But I don't want you to be scared of messing it up. I want you to practice writing messages to these guys like I'm here. Okay, let me give you a few more examples. Sometimes just one line. Hey, Nicholas, Australian agriculture had its biggest year in a very long time. That's all because of you, right? He has software specifically going to the Australian agriculture industry. So I used a bit of professional insight. I went on to Google. I did a quick look at some of the news. I noticed Australian agriculture had its biggest year. So I wrote that in to show professional insight. Australian agriculture had its biggest year, and I gave him a bit of compliment. It's all because of you, right? So little things like this. You see, it's not that difficult to do. And I know that, getting feedback from a lot of people that have tried this approach, they get stuck at the beginning because they're worried about, do they know enough about the industry? What do they say? You just need to practice it, guys, because you really do. So these little insights that I'm showing you now, think about it. Are they really that difficult? Is it really difficult to show some of this? This one was a little bit more technical, all right, about the data cleanup. But what I'm doing is I'm just putting myself into the shoes of the people they are trying to get in front of. So you see what's happening. So ask yourself, when you're messaging somebody on LinkedIn, right? When you're researching them, think about what they are going in their shoes, what they're going through, and write about what they're going through, all the people they are trying to speak to are going through. Now, you might be in insurance, so your messages are going to be different. You might be talking about the pain of what they're going through. That has nothing to do with their industry. That might be great. In that case, you could use potentially their job title. So you can say, I know what a CTO is going through right now. CTOs in the construction industry. So you can see that he's a CTO in the construction industry. Say CTOs, not just in the construction industry, but generally are suffering from this problem right now. Read their problem back to them. Tell them their problem better than they know it. That's what builds up your credibility. This is what starts to build that conversation. Hi, Phoebus. I've been watching the logistics industry change over the past months. It seems, unlike politics, they are waking up to the importance of technology because he came from a political background. I can see that in his LinkedIn profile, he was originally in politics. So I could easily have said, hi, Phoebus, I see, you were originally in politics. So try and avoid, this will become more advanced. Try and avoid saying things like, hi, Phoebus, I see you are in politics. Or I read through your profile and I noticed that you are in politics. Take away the beginning of that. Just say, hi, Phoebus, you're in politics. Don't soften it. We make so many mistakes in our words. This is key, by the way, guys. And you guys should all be depositing money into my bank account right now, just for this little piece of wisdom. We as writers when we write messages, we try to soften those messages. So we'll say, hi, Phoebus, I have read through your LinkedIn profile, or I see that, take that out. Make a bold statement. Hi, Phoebus, I've been watching the logistics industry change over the past months. I didn't say, hi, Phoebus, in my opinion, the logistics industry, great people don't have opinions. They don't make opinions, they make bold statements. There's another $50 you can deposit in my account just for that. You make a bold statement. Great people do not give their opinion. They make bold statements. When was the last time you saw the Queen of England come online and go, hello, everybody. I was just wondering, and I would just like to ask you if perhaps it never happens. You don't see top CEOs coming out there and going, hi, guys. Sure, I was a bit unsure, but I was wondering, like, maybe what do you think? It doesn't freaking happen. They make bold statements. If you're going to bring yourself onto a high level and bring yourself to a level where people want to speak to you as a partner, as opposed to a salesperson, then bold statements are the way to go. So this is what I've done here. So I see I've been watching the logistics industry change over the past months. It seems unlike politics. So what have I done, guys? Broke my own frigging rule right there. What I should have done is I shouldn't have written the word "it seems." Okay, here's a perfect example. It's so easy to fall for this trap. I fall for it. My number one mistake with this message is I didn't go back and edit it afterwards. I didn't go back and delete it like Winston Churchill said. Winston Churchill said, sorry, this letter is so long. I just didn't have time to make it shorter. That's what you've got to do. You've got to shorten it. I should not have used the word "it seems." Okay, so watch me make my own mistakes. What I should have said was just, unlike politics, they are waking up to the importance of technology. Bang, bold statement. Now, this is where you can shift a little bit, because don't make statements about their specific business, because you can get that wrong. This is where, guys, we have to do another session down the line to become more advanced. It's okay to say this about their business because that is their specialty, not yours. But it's okay to make statements about the industry unless you really do know about their business. Does that make sense? So what I wrote here is, I'm guessing your integration with voice is what sets you apart from the competition. Once again, re-looking at this message right now, I would say that I made that mistake. I should have just said your integration with voice is what sets you apart from the competition. It's a really innovative touch. The rest is good. So it's a bit dodgy as to whether I should have done that. But the point is, for this particular exercise, this is a great example for me how to get the point across that I'm trying to make. You see what's happening? I'm really just trying to get you guys to get that. Jeepers, man. No, even though I've been doing this for a while, I rush too much sometimes. And even looking at this, let's take a look at how I did this one. Sean is now a client, by the way. This actually went all the way through to a client. Hi, Sean, if you're ever watching this. First of all, I called him Richard. Now, that is a glorious fuck up, excuse the language. However, mistakes happen. And so luckily, he didn't seem to mind too much. But really try not to get a person's name wrong, guys. Sure, looking at this, I'm a bit rushed. Now, watch what I said. I took a look at SCAD, and I witnessed the no-code app revolution come alive. I kind of think that, in my opinion, that maybe the no-code app revolution is coming alive. I made a bold statement. Guess what, guys? I don't even know if this is true. I don't know if the no-code app revolution even is coming alive. Because people say, Scott, you know so much about this stuff. You're an expert already. You can make these bold statements. Actually, most people who make bold statements out there on the news and stuff like that, they are frigging clueless. They make bold statements for no other reason to be seen as credible, authoritative people. They don't actually know what the hell is going on. But the authority is there. Now, remember, you are starting a conversation which will lead into something future. So it's okay to be wrong. It's okay to be wrong. I witnessed the no-code app revolution come alive. In a few years, it'll be the primary way to build, I would think. Now, that way, I can't, for me to say that would be a bit hectic. So I said the words, I would think. Have a great weekend. Do you see what's happening, guys? I hope you're getting the balance between these bold, provocative statements and really making it powerful, and then trying to also avoid some of the softness. If you read this from beginning, I took a look at SCAD and I witnessed the no-code app revolution come alive. In a few years, it would be the primary way to build, I would think. Have a great weekend. Even though I said I would think, look at the overall statement and say, is that overall statement bold? Is it showing professional insight? If the answer is yes, then you're good to go. If there's any airy-fairy or it's too fluffy, take it out. See what's happening, guys? He actually responded to this, went onto my website, blah, 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 blah. The rest is history. Okay. Let me give you one more example, and then we'll go into some examples from you guys. Hi, Sam. Firstly, Well done for targeting a specific industry like manufacturing. Once again, I've started by complimenting him. Usually, I spend days with clients convincing them that their software, quote, isn't for every man, woman, and child on this earth. Secondly, the training industry is booming. Great space to be in. It's competitive. But if you specialize like you have done, you can really crush it. There's an example of no fluffiness, bold statement. All I've done is I've just read his whole process back to him. I've also got a really good conversation going with this guy now as well. Once again, guys, I don't know how many times more of these examples you need, but for me, you've got this access to the cheat sheet. You can go through them very quickly. When I say, remember I talked about questions, this is a specific examples of where you can ask questions. It's rare. Try to avoid questions. But I did have to show an example in this cheat sheet where you can ask a question or where questions are a good possibility and they can work. So there's a whole bunch of these. Everything I've shown you so far is all about me and how I do it. These examples over here are also going to be follow that same vein. Now I know what you guys are asking. That's great. How the heck do we do it for you? All right. Now I need to go through with you guys and show you some examples. So if you guys have got some LinkedIn profiles, processes now, let's take you through. I'm going to stop the recording now. For those guys that want more information on this, come to my sessions, chat to me personally. Also, we're going to return to this later, guys. This is so important. We're going to come back to this. Going back, we're going to focus on the setup in the next episode 4 next week. We're going to go back to that. And I'm going to show you how to make this even more powerful with the process. It's difficult. It's not easy, but practice. Your homework, even if you get it completely wrong, just practice it with those people that you've already got. Write a few sentences to them. Make some bold statements. Just give it a go. You've got nothing to lose. So that's your homework. Also, your homework, guys, just remember is to start connecting with more people on LinkedIn, start to, connect with people in this group, etc., etc. So I'm going to stop the recording now, and I'm going to start working with you guys, pick a few one-on-ones, and let's go for that. For those of you who are doing the recording, really sorry you can't make it. I know some of you are unable to because of time zones, etc., etc. One of these sessions I'll make later in the evening so you guys can make it. We'd love to have you guys. Just follow the process. Keep going, spend an hour a week just focusing on prospecting, learn this technique, and eventually it will become like second nature. It'll get super, super powerful for you guys to get those calls. All right. Thank you, everybody. See you next time.